the Dauphine hands is something I had to get used to. We have lume on the hands, and if and how the lume works, well, I'm going to show that later in the video. Hello and welcome to Watch Maxie's Watch Videos. My name is Axel and I'm glad to have you on the show. I've got a new watch and it is a Jean Marcel Accuracy. It is a dresser, as you can see, and it is a dresser with a quartz movement. I bought it in the Black Friday week directly at Jean Marcel's and I paid €371.25 instead of the recommended retail price of €495. It is a watch which surprised me in many ways. The dial, as you can see here, is a very, very light blue dial, and it is a gorgeous color. I really do like it. And the watch is delivered in a box with this very, very light brown grayish strap, another second strap in a dark brown leather, a very small and tiny strap change tool, and most important, the documentation, the COSC certificate. All that has already been stored away, but in my 1 week on the wrist video, which is going to come in a couple of days, maybe a week or a week and a half, you will see the box, the other strap, the documentation, all this kind of stuff, which I already stored away. I don't care too much about these kind of things, but some of you want to see it, and in my 1 week on the wrist, you're going to see all this stuff which has been delivered together with the watch. The watch is really, really nice, although it is slightly on the bigger side for a dress watch. I really do like the color of the dial. I do like the font type of the 12 and 6 o'clock indicators. The case is pretty slim. I'll come to the technical specifications in a moment. The case is polished from all sides, which make it a kind of glossy watch, although the face of the watch is interesting but decent. It's not a very loud watch from the face, but from the case it is a shiny glossy watch. All sides, including the horns and the back side, are polished, so a really dress watch. However, the water resistance and other things allow the watch to wear in a more kind of rugged way, although I personally wouldn't do that. Oh, no, that's not right. I did it, but you'll see it in the 1 week. Yeah, let's come to the technical specifications. The diameter is 41 millimeter. The lug width is 20 millimeter. And the thickness, including the slightly curved crystal, is 8.5 millimeter. The watch is empowered by an ETA F06.411 chronometer certified quartz movement. The backside is polished, as you can see, and on the front side we have a special crystal which Jean Marcel calls, and unfortunately I only have the German word for it, Aluminium Sicalat, but the trade name for that is Gorilla Glass, and that's used for the display of mobile and smartphones, so it should be very robust. I'll come to that in a second, but let's first have a look how this watch sits on my 17 centimeter or 6 3/4 of an inch wrist. Yeah, closing the pin buckle with gloves on sometimes is a bit tricky, but here we go. You can see, as the watch is pretty flat and has a diameter of 41 millimeter, it is on the bigger side for a dress watch, but I can say it wears really comfortable given the very low weight and the thinness of the watch is a watch which you really, in the positivest possible way, can forget on your wrist. You don't notice it. It's just comfortably on your wrist without any pressure, any press point. Talking about the crystal is slightly curved. It is a Gorilla Glass crystal, which is, according to Jean Marcel, 9 times harder than standard mineral crystal. And it has, and you're going to see that later in the video, it has a mystery logo. So if you breathe to the crystal, a logo appears. I'm going to show that later in the video. Before that, I would like to have a closer look to the case, how the case is shaped, what I noticed, and other things which make the watch kind of special for me and my collection. You can see the Gorilla Glass crystal is embedded in a small, tiny steel top ring, which is not connected to the rest of the case with a D-ring or other angles. It is a real step between the top ring and the case, and I do like that. I don't have it with any other watch, and the whole case is polished, is really nice to touch, but with these certain steps on the backside and between the top ring and the case, it has a certain design which I haven't seen before. The watch has a water resistance of 100 meter, which allows to go swimming with the watch if you want to, but I think, as far as I know, there are no steel bracelets for the watch, just the leather straps. So going swimming, it's a personal decision. You may or may not want to go swimming with a leather strap. What I also noticed, and that is something I really need to positively point out, the second hand nearly always meets the minute indicators. But before we come to that, here you can better see the step between the top ring and the case. That's really nice. And my other watches have other solutions for that. I really like it. It makes the watch look slightly different. You don't see it at a first view. You have to have a closer look to it. But once you have seen it, you'll always notice it. Here you can see how the second hand meets the markers. Not 100% precise on all markers, but no single marker has been missed significantly. It's always very close to the marker, and I really do appreciate that. This watch is limited to 300 pieces, as all models of the Accuracy series. The buckle is a standard pin buckle, Jean Marcel labeled. Nothing to complain about, nothing extremely positive to point out in particular. The watch is just well made, and the very, very light blue grayish dial looks just gorgeous. I really like it. I like the fact that the watch is completely polished also on the back side. It just makes the watch look a little bit more precious. I really do like it. The Dauphine hands is something I had to get used to. We have lume on the hands, and if and how the lume works, well, I'm going to show that later in the video. The crown is a non-screw down pull and push crown. The horns are polished and slightly bent down, so even on smaller wrists or women's wrists, the watch may sit pretty comfortable, since the horns won't stand over and make the watch really sit comfortably even on smaller wrists. And for bigger wrists, the diameter of 41 millimeter makes it a really good dress watch for nearly any wrist size. Even my wife tried that watch on and felt comfortable, and already looked for clothing which would fit to the watch. So I suppose that it's got to be a shared watch in a certain way. Some of you gave me some hints in the comments that he would like to see how the hands are set. So what I'm going to do is I'll set the hands to the 12 o'clock position. Let's wait for the second hand to have all three hands at the same position and see how the hands are set. The watch has been bought directly from Jean Marcel's. It is not particularly made or controlled for me. I ordered it as a normal customer out of the web shop, and as you can see, the hands are perfectly set. No friction of a millimeter disalignment. Absolutely great, and that makes me believe that Jean Marcel has quite a good quality control before the watches are delivered. It's absolutely perfect, and I really do appreciate that, because misaligned hands is something which really annoys me, and that's something I control with any watch I buy, and I try to put that and incorporate that in all my coming videos so you can see if the watch is correctly set or not. By the way, I breathed on the crystal, and at the 12 o'clock position you can see a very light JM logo, and that's what they call mystery logo. When the crystal dries, the logo disappears. It's a nice feature. Initially I thought, well, it's nice, but you don't need it. But then I noticed it's a Gorilla Glass, it's a special crystal, and with that mystery logo you can identify if the crystal has been replaced at some point in time against a standard crystal, a standard mineral crystal, because the Gorilla crystal used by Jean Marcel has this mystery logo, so you always can identify the original crystal on the watch, and that's something I really do like. Well, I already talked about the lume on the hands. Let's have a look how it looks at night. Well, yeah, here it is. As you can see, there are no markers or no numbers covered with lume, just the hands, and the hands are covered with lume on a very small area. So there is some lume, but it doesn't last very long. You can read it for an hour or two, but I have plenty of watches in my collection which can do that better, longer, and brighter. Having in mind that's a dresser with small and stylish hands, and it's not a diver's watch, it's not a Flieger watch. That's okayish for me, but I actually need to mention that there are watches which can do that better, but at least you have some lume, you can see some luminescent time indication for a shorter period of time. I'm really keen to learn and read what you think about the watch, what you think about the ETA-powered chronometer certified movement. More important, enjoy your own watches, stay safe, and look forward to my next videos. Cheers, Axel.